Hi, my name is Yoseph and I'll be explaining about Chapter 3 Ethics and Privacy. First, ethical issues. The definition of ethics is the principle of right and wrong that individuals use to make choices that guide their behavior. Deciding what is right and wrong is not always easy or clear out. Fortunately, there are many frameworks that can help us make ethical decisions. There are many sources for ethical standards. Here we consider four widely used standards: the utilitarian approach, the right approach, the fairness approach, and the common good approach. There are many other sources, but these are representative. The utilitarian approach states that an ethical action is the one that provides the most good or does the least harm. The right approach maintains that an ethical action is the one that best protects and respects the moral rights of the affected parties. The fairness approach posits that an ethical action treats all human beings equally, or if unequally, then fairly based on some defensible standard. For example, most people might believe it is fair to pay people higher salaries if they work harder or if they contribute a greater amount to the firm. However, there is less certainty regarding CEO salaries that are hundreds or thousands of times larger than those of other employees. Finally, the common good approach highlights that the interlocking relationship that underlie all societies. This approach argues that respect and compassion for all others is the basis for ethical actions. If we combine those four standards, we can develop a general framework for ethics. This framework consists of 5 steps. First, recognize an ethical issues. Second, get the facts. Third, evaluate alternative action. Fourth, make a decision and test it. Fifth, act and reflect on the outcome of your decision. And now I'll be explaining about ethics in the corporate environment. Many companies and professional organizations develop their own codes of ethics. A code of ethics is a collection of principles intended to guide decision making by members of the organization. Fundamental tenets of ethics include responsibility, accountability, and liability. Responsibility means that you accept the consequences of your decisions and action. Accountability refers to determining who is responsible for action that was taken. Liability is a legal concept that gives individuals the right to recover the damage done to them by other individuals, organizations, or systems. And now I'll be explaining about ethics and information technology. All employees have a responsibility to encourage ethical issues of information and information technology. Many of the business decisions you will face at work will have an ethical dimensions. The diversity and ever-expanding use of IT applications have created a variety of ethical issues. These issues fall into 4 general categories: privacy, accuracy, property, and accessibility. The privacy issues involve collecting, storing, and disseminating information about individuals. The accuracy issues involve authenticity, fidelity, and accuracy of information that is collected and processed. The property issues involve the ownership and value of information. The accessibility issues revolve around who should have access to information and whether a fee should be paid for this access. And now I'll be explaining about privacy. In general, privacy is the right to be left alone or to be free of unreasonable personal intrusion. Information privacy is the right to determine when and to what extent information about you can be gathered and/or communication to others. Privacy rights apply to individuals, groups, and institutions. The rapid advances in IT have made it much easier to collect, store, and integrate data of individuals in large databases. On an average day, data about you are generated in many ways, like surveillance cameras, credit cards, telephone calls and transactions, bank transactions, etc. There are 3 privacy policy guidelines: assembler, data collection, data accuracy, and data confidentiality.
Hello, my name is Zaki Muzaffar from Bina International University, batch 2019. Today I will give a presentation about supply chain management and customer relationship management. First, I will start with supply chain management. To better understand supply chain management, first one needs to understand what supply chain is. Supply chain is every stage involved, directly or indirectly, in fulfilling a customer request. This includes manufacturers, suppliers, transporters, warehouses, retailers, and customer. It includes the movement of products from suppliers to manufacturers to distributors, but also includes movement of information, funds, and products in both directions. Longer supply chain magnified the impact of the bullwhip effect and increased the amount of inventory held across the system. The bullwhip whip effect is fluctuations in orders which increase as they move up the supply chain from retailers to wholesalers to manufacturers to suppliers. It distorts demand information with the supply chain and results from a loss of supply chain coordination. The supply chain has three macro processes that can be classified into customer relationship management, internal supply chain management, and supplier relationship management. Integration among the above three macro processes is critical for effective and successful supply chain management. The objective of a supply chain is to maximize overall value created, which is the difference between what the final product is worth to the customer and the effort the supply chain expends in filling the customer's request. Supply chain profitability is total profit to be shared across all stages of the supply chain, and its success should be measured by total supply chain profit, not profits at an individual stage. So what is the supply chain management? Supply chain management, or SCM, is the management of flows between and among supply chain stages to maximize total supply chain profitability. Its goals are to articulate exactly what a company's supply chain looks like, identify specific bottlenecks that are slowing down the movement of information, goods, and services, put the right processes in place to get the right products delivered to the right place on time, and empower the right people so they can accomplish all of the above. Process view of a supply chain. The first process view is cycle view, which is process in the supply chain are divided into a series of cycles, and the second view is push-pull view, which processes in a supply chain are divided into two categories, depending on being a response to customer order, pull, or an anticipation of a customer order, push. Next, customer relationship management. There are many definitions used to explain what customer relationship management, or CRM, is, but at its core, it is a business strategy that integrates internal processes and functions and external networks to create and deliver value to targeted customers at a profit. It is based on high-quality customer-related data and enabled by information technology. CRM is based on four principles. 1. Customers should be managed as important assets. 2. Not all customers are equally desirable. 3. Customers vary in their needs, preferences, and buying behavior. 4. By better understanding their customers, companies can tailor their offerings to maximize their overall value. CRM has its advantages such as better customer knowledge, increases market share, creates up and cross-selling opportunities, increased product acceptance, and quicker cash flows. There are four types of CRM, which are strategic, operational, analytical, and collaborative. Finally, why CRM systems are being used is to identify prospects, acquire customers, cross-selling and upselling, servicing, retaining, and increasing loyalty.
Information security. Information security is designed to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer system data from those with malicious intentions. So basically, it's like a security where it handles risk management. In other words, anything can act as a risk or a threat. So in order to overcome this, sensitive information must be kept, and it cannot be changed or altered or even transferred without permission. For example, sending a message to someone, but during the transmission it has been modified by someone intercepting it before it reaches the recipient. The following examples are consequences of information technologies that are misused. Countries face threats of cyber terrorism and cyber warfare. Identities of an individual can be stolen, and organizations can have customer information stolen, which can lead to financial losses. Security is defined as the degree of protection against criminal activity, damage, danger, or loss. So, information security indicates to all of the processes and policies designed to protect an organization's information and information systems from unauthorized access. Information security controls are designed to protect all of the components of an information system, including data, software, hardware, and networks. So there's three types of information security control. As you can see in this figure, physical control, access control, and communications control. Basically, this figure shows where the defense mechanisms are located. Physical control prevents unauthorized individuals from gaining any access to companies' facilities. So most organizations use physical security measures in computers so that it limits the computer users to acceptable login times and locations. Access control is a security control where it restricts unauthorized individuals from using information resources. So there are two major functions in access controls: authentication and authorization. Authentication confirms the identity of the person requiring access, but only after the person is identified. Authorization determines which actions, rights, or privileges the person has based on the verified identity. Communication control acts as a network control to secure the movement of data across networks. This mainly consists of firewalls, anti-malware systems, encryption, and virtual private networks. As you can see in figure A, shows a basic firewall for home computer, and figure B shows an organization with two firewalls and demilitarized zone.